This year, the last minute, we decided that we would participate in a toy drive for kids who need toys for the holidays. I thought I had plenty of time. There is no way I can get 100 toys. Now I'm in like panic mode. I'm anxious. I have to tell you, I did have to hit the anxiety meds a couple of times because I was like, and I got into this big, messy, chewed gum hairball of trying to figure out who we could give the toys to make sure they went to kids who really need them. Oh my God. This year, I got involved in a big giving challenge, actually because of YouTube. My beloved Jeanette was saying, well, what are you doing for the holidays? What are you doing for Christmas? And she reminded me that I see all these people on YouTube and it always makes me happy, especially young people who are giving things to people randomly. And at first I was thinking, well, I know that I could do that. Their neighborhoods where just being able to give toys to kids would be great. And then I started looking into it more. I'm kind of a nerd. And the research I did said that giving things to families who find themselves unable to do much for their kids in any given year makes them feel bad. Often the dads will leave if they're around or they feel embarrassed. So the one-on-one giving, when it's for somebody's kids, can create shame, which is the last thing I want to do. So then I started looking for, well, what organized groups are doing drives for kids? Because what I have found over the years trying to do things as a volunteer is that it's much better to connect to an organization that's already figured some stuff out, because it's not so easy to give stuff away, particularly at the individual level. It's just not so easy. And so I we went to a fire station, the fire station closest to us. And I went and rang the bell, and this fireman, I don't know why all firemen are so hunky, but that's just, one of God's gifts. So this fireman came to the door and kind of looked me up and down and said, yes, miss, what do you want? And I said, are you doing a toy drive this year? And he said, no, I actually don't think we're doing a toy drive this year. There was some issue with Toys for Tots. I don't know anything about it, but I know who does know. So he gave me the phone number, the general phone number, and told me to ask for Captain Elaine. So I called Captain Elaine, who is, we became BFFs in like 20 seconds. And I was like, Captain Elaine, what is up? And she said,
well, we're having a tough time this year, and we decided we would do a Toys for Drives campaign.
So that's going to be, I'm recording this on December 1st, and the drive is tomorrow, December 2nd. And the way it will work is everybody who brings an unwrapped toy gets a ride in the fire truck. So it's mainly to encourage kids to share their toys with other kids. And then Captain Elaine said to me, but we're really kind of having trouble getting enough toys. And she said, how many do you think you can get? So now Captain Elaine has me like in her sights saying, how many can you get? And I said, 100, maybe I can get 100. And she's like, yes, get 100 toys. So now I have a metric. My business mind kicks in, and I have a number I have to reach, which is I have to get to 100 toys. So I start thinking, okay, can I afford to buy 100 toys? And I'm now deep into websites about toy drives and what people do for toy drives. And I see that, yes, there are people who are able to buy things for toy drives, but they end up being toys. I'm not dissing this, more stocking stuffer kind of things, like small things that you can get so that you can get a lot of them. And I thought, okay, that's good. And the first thing I did was call my friend Sally, who is just a genius and trained as a social worker to work with kids. So we went shopping and we were going to a couple of places, and she's telling me, oh, we can't get this, we have to get this, because she's working on toys that allow kids to imagine a future for themselves, right? The toys that the fire department is collecting are for two places, one for a women's shelter and one for a family shelter. And so what we want is for these kids to be able to imagine a life where they're the one collecting 100 toys, giving it to kids in shelters, right? That's the goal of this. So we're shopping and we're buying toys. And of course, what I want to do is buy anything with glitter on it. I'm picking out all the stuff with glitter and with sequins, and she's like, no, we don't want to get that. So I go shopping with Sally, and then I think, oh, okay, I can just ask my friends. I can ask everybody I know if they want to contribute. So asking turns out to have a couple of components that I learned a lot about this year. The first one is that unless you have already given something to someone, unless you've been the one to reach out first and have an open heart and hands, not that you're doing it for this reason. In fact, you can't do it for this reason. But if you haven't been giving, then you're not in a good place to ask, right? If somebody knows when they hear from you that you just want something, then they're not going to be inspired to give. But I was fortunate because I reached out to friends, including friends who live far away, and said, so I am in over my head, and I promised I would do a toy drive, and I need 100 toys, and what can you do? So it was amazing what happened. One of my favorite stories was a friend said,
oh, well, before I go shopping, let me look and see what I already have.
She has two grandkids who are now moving toward their teenage years. And the toy drive is from newborns to 12-year-olds. And she just went to look and see what she'd gotten for grandchildren and never given them. And it turned out there was a lot that she hadn't given them for one reason or another. And she put that all in a box and sent it to me. And I had said to one of my guy friends, who, by the way, had COVID at the time, I don't know, I committed to this toy drive, I don't know what to do. And he said,
okay, I'm on it.
So he went on Amazon and got these, they're like big lunch boxes. He felt that since he's a guy, he should get toys that are usually given to little boys, although I love these toys. He got these tin things with a little buckle on them that you can undo, full of dinosaurs, like completely full of dinosaurs. Another friend turned up at Thanksgiving. I had only told one of the Thanksgiving people that I was doing this, and she showed up. She has, we share a family member who's turned one. And so she showed up with these gigantic containers full of blocks for babies. And so the next thing I had to do, Sally said, how are you going to get these to the fire station? So I ended up buying this like garden cart that's supposed to carry soil and garden tools, which will stay with the house. And we've loaded that up with toys, but they're spilling out from there. So we have to figure out how to take them tomorrow. And I said to Captain Elaine, okay, here's the deal. If I hit 100, do I get to sit on a fireman's lap? And Pop-Pop's heard this, and he's like,
No, you do not get to sit on a fireman's lap.
And Captain Elaine said, you definitely do not. Absolutely, it's against rules. You cannot sit on a fireman's lap. She said, however, if you bring 100 toys, you do get to sit on Santa's knee and ask him what you want, tell him what you want for Christmas. So we'll see if I actually do that tomorrow. And you're going to have to stay tuned to find that out, because they're all in a big lump, and I have to organize them and get them ready to go to the hunky firemen. I will admit, I'm sorry, I did tell Captain Elaine there was one fireman I saw who was particularly hunky, and she was going to hunt him down. I can't describe how he looks because I don't want him to ever know, to put on the fireman calendar next year. So we're going to do a video. You can see the big unveiling of the toys, of the firemen, of Santa, and whether or not I am really naughty or nice, and whether or not that makes a difference on if I get to sit on Santa's lap.